Hello and welcome back to Cooking on a Budget. I'm TJ.
I'm Cody. And I'm Tristian.
So this week we've got some real delights for you. We are having the end of the month lovely homemade takeaway. So we're going for sweet and sour chicken, which is Cody's favourite, and we're going to have banana fritters for pudding. So we'll just get you to have a quick look at the ingredients so you know what to get ready so you can join us on our journey. So Cody, what are we going to start with first?
First we've got a cup of rice and we're just going to bring it over to here. Just going to pour it in. And then we're going to pour all of this water in. Then we're going to turn it on. We're going to have it on like a low heat. And then we're just going to leave it there. Okay. Now we're just going to cut this chicken up.
Brilliant.
And then as you can tell there's some fat on here, so we're just going to cut that off. Just put it to the side for now.
So we're using chicken breasts, but you could use leg, you could use other meats or pork, and if you're a vegan or a vegetarian, then use some nice firm tofu for this. So you're going to cut them into little squares of about an inch square, so that when they're all cooked up, that will give you a nice good chunk of meat to eat. So we're using for about 4 of us, we're going to use 500 grams of chicken. So we've got that all ready. So once we've done that, I'll just give you this, Tristian, to get rid of.
Yeah.
Thank you. Then we're getting on to the marinade, aren't we?
I'm just going to put this in. Then we're just going to wash our hands.
Okay, why are you washing your hands?
If you get chicken over other stuff, it will like contaminate it.
That's it.
Make you sick.
That's great, yeah, it's true.
I'm going to do a couple of grates of this.
So it's a little bit of salt.
Some pepper.
A little bit of pepper.
Then we're going to do a spoon of this.
It's just half a teaspoon of soya sauce. So we're just giving it just that little bit of flavouring. That'll do.
And then we're going to crack our egg into here.
So by doing that, you can make sure that if it's rotten at all, you'll be able to see it straight into that, and you'll be able to throw that without contaminating any of your food and wasting it.
Put that in. And then we're just going to put some brown sugar in.
So that's half a teaspoon of sugar. And then we're going to mix all of that up. And then we'll add just a dash of oil. If you've got sesame oil, add sesame oil. If not, any oil that you've got, it's just a little bit just to bind everything all together and to get it all lovely marinated.
TJ, can you add some of that please?
Yep, so now we've got some corn flour and we're just going to coat that in there because that's what's going to give us...
I'll get these.
Thank you very much. That's what's going to give us the lovely crispy coating. So you can just add some ad hoc, and the more that, if it's still needing it a bit more, then you can just add a little bit more in each time. So we're just going to get that all completely coated. Just going to add just that little bit more so we've got a really good covering on it. So you can get your hands right in there and just make sure it's all stuck to that. So maybe you want to just get right in there, Codes, and just make sure it's all in between your hands. Just really get in there. That's it, and keep turning all of the flour over on the bottom so you've got more on the top. And as I say, you can just keep adding just that little bit more as you go along. And over yourself if you like to. And it's okay because it's just flour, so it will all just come straight off. If you are vegan, then just leave the egg out. You don't need to have the egg. You can leave that out. So once you've made sure that you've got that a good coating of everything on that, so yeah, Cody, if you just show that again. So you can see it's all lovely coated. We're just going to leave that in the fridge for a little while, so I'll give that to Tristian to put in the fridge. And we'll leave that for about half an hour. So get Cody to wash his hands again. Now if you've got a wok, you can use a wok. We don't have a wok and I don't have a deep fat fryer, so we've just used a pan and put some oil in that for cooking our chicken. So Cody's going to put the pan on now because the oil needs to be really hot to be able to cook the chicken really well and get that lovely crispy golden coating on it that we're going to want. If you're on a diet or you're not wanting fried food, then just leave the flour and coating off and you can cook that in a pan with just the tiniest bit of oil and not have it deep fried, and that will be a much healthier option for you. So what we're doing now, Cody?
Just going to cut the tomato.
And this is going to go with the sauce, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, how are you cutting that there, Cody?
Just cutting them into small little pieces. I'm just going to put them in that.
So we've got 2 tomatoes for our recipe to do that. Just get it all nicely chopped up and ready. So we'll let Cody finish chopping that up and we'll come back to you in a moment.
Now we're just going to cut the green pepper.
So in the beginning it's sticking the knife in and just trying to get down the side of it, isn't it? Yeah. So if we just look inside that lovely pepper, we can see that there's loads of seeds. Now we do not want those seeds, do we?
No.
Okay, so I'm just going to watch what you're doing closely.
So you have to be really careful when you're using a knife, like to make sure you don't cut yourself.
Yeah, keeping your fingers and thumbs out of the way is important, isn't it?
Yep, very important.
So you're doing a great job there trying to avoid all of the seeds. If you do get seeds at all, you can just give that a quick wash. So you can see that you are left with this bit here. So we'll turn that over. You can see that that's the top of it and that's that. So we're just going to throw that away.
I'll take that.
Then what are you going to do with what's left, Cody?
So now we're just going to cut them into little pieces like the tomato.
Cool, so sort of little squares.
Yeah. Okay, so we don't want this little white piece.
Okay, so that's part of the inside, is it? Okay, so that bit's going in the bin.
Same with this little white piece.
So the white bits we don't want, we just want what's left with the green.
Yeah.
I'll take that.
And then we're just chopping them into nice little squares, ready to be fried off shortly, yeah?
Yeah.
Fabulous. So why is this one of your favourite meals then, Cody?
Because I like the takeaway Chinese sweet and sour chicken. So, and TJ has made it for me quite a few times and I quite like it.
Cool. And it's not too hard to make, is it?
No.
Oops, a daisy. Those little bits just flick off everywhere, don't they?
I'll pick that one up.
Thank you again, Tristian. You're doing a grand job of helping clear it all up, ready? So at the moment we've got our rice cooking and we've got our oil heating up. So, you can obviously use a tin of pineapples, or you can use a fresh one. We've cut up a fresh one. What else have we got in this one, Cody?
Onion.
And do you just want to show what sort of size those bits are? So again, they're a fair size piece, some nice little squares. Okay, so what we're waiting for now is the oil to heat up, isn't it?
Yeah.
So once the oil's heated up, we'll come back to you and we will start to cook off the chicken. See you in a moment.
And now we're just going to put the chicken in.
So this chicken's the one that's been marinated. So again, we don't have a fryer, so we don't have a thing to put it all into. So instead of plopping it in, if you plop it in, what will happen, Cody?
It'll just splash back up.
And that will hurt. So what are you doing?
I'm just putting up 5 on here, and then I'm just going to put them in.
So you're just going to lower them down into there at arm's length. And then just wiggle it about to make sure they separate. So you can see it's bubbling up. So if it bubbles up too much, then just turn it down just a slightly, just for a moment, because you don't want it to overflow or explode on you, do you? So you can see it's starting to calm down now, and that's just another 5 in. So just move it all around so it's not separated. And then we're just going to leave it alone for a moment, aren't we, Cody? So what are we going to do while this is cooking away?
We're just going to make our nice little sauce over here.
How will we know when it's cooked, Cody?
Because it will start floating at the top and it won't bubble as much.
And what sort of colour would we expect those
like
white...
a goldish brown.
Oh, lovely.
Okay, so first we're just going to do a couple of grapes of salt. Then we're just going to do a couple of stuff of pepper. And then we're going to get this big spoonful.
So we've got a tablespoon of soy sauce, yes?
Yes. And then vinegar.
Okay, and
I'll take that.
wonderful. And so that
Brown sugar.
So we've got 6 tablespoons of vinegar, sugar, and ketchup.
Yeah. Does it matter which brown ketchup you get?
No, it doesn't make any difference whatsoever.
Cool. We'll take that. Put these over here so you guys can see. Doesn't look overly appetizing, but it'll be a good sauce.
It will look very different once we use that and everything's all added together and cooking off with the vegetables.
Yes.
So we've got all of that ready. So we're just going to leave that now for a moment, aren't we?
Yeah.
And shall we check and see how the chicken's doing? So it's close, isn't it? So you can see that they are really nicely starting to brown now, and it won't be long. So once they've browned off and they're all cooked, where will we put them then?
We'll just put them in this bowl and with some paper tissue so it can dry them off.
That's it. Right, well, we will leave them to cook for a minute and we'll come back.
Okay, now you can see that they're floating. Just going to turn this off. Going to move it over to here.
Oh, they're really nice and brown, aren't they? They're really golden.
Put them in there.
So So you can see how they're all just moving freely around. You know that they're cooked from that. And then we just need to make sure we drain all of the excess fat off from them.
Yes.
And obviously, because it's hot oil, you do need to be really careful, don't you?
Yeah. Otherwise you'll burn yourself very bad.
Obviously, if you do get burnt at all, what should you do?
You should run it under cold tap straight away
How long for?
for like 5 minutes. 5-10 minutes.
That's good. Great. So we're just going to put them all to the side, and then we're going to start on the marinade. We'll come back to you in a moment.
Now they're all finished. As you can tell, they're nice and golden.
Oh, they are lovely and golden. They look like chicken nuggets. I suppose they are, really.
We're just going to put this over here. We're just going to grab this olive oil. Going to add a little drop in. And then we're just going to turn it on.
So you're going to start on high heat, aren't you, just to heat up the oil, and then turn it down as you go, yeah? I think you might need a bit more oil in that. And then what are we going to add, Cody?
Then we're going to add some onions. So we're just going to add all of these.
So it's just getting it to soften up for a minute, yeah? So just making sure they've all divided up so they're a bit more singly. And it's making sure your oil's nice and hot, so you're just giving it a quick saute, isn't it?
Yeah.
And then what we're going to add
We're
next?
just going to add some green peppers in. If you need to, you can turn down the heat a bit.
Yeah, if it starts to spit a bit, isn't it?
Yeah.
So just turn it down and stand back a bit.
So then we're just going to add the tomatoes in. And stir that a bit.
So you're just letting that saute for a minute or so before you add anything else, are you? So it just takes a couple of minutes just to allow it all to soften up a little bit, and just keep moving it around in the nice hot oil, isn't it?
Okay, now we're just going to add some pineapple in. Stir that around.
Obviously you don't want the vegetables to get really, really soft, do you? Because we like to have a little bit of a crunch to it all.
Okay, now we're just going to add all of our sauce in. We're just going to stir it again.
Okay, it's got quite a nice orange colour to it, isn't it? And you can really start to smell that now, can't you?
Yeah.
As it's all cooking off. And how will that sauce get? Will it get a little bit thicker?
Yeah. Okay, now we're just going to add chicken in.
Oops, one for the bin.
Yep. Okay. Now I'm just going to put this tea towel clip just hold on to here.
That's it, and it's just trying to make sure that everything's got a little bit of sauce on, isn't it?
Yeah.
Now you can really start to smell it. It smells really good. I must admit, I am really looking forward to dinner today.
Whoopsie.
Aye. There we go, that's one back for the pot. So obviously we're doing quite a big pan, aren't we? Because we want to do for the whole family. There's 4 of us to eat this. So it's really, really nice. So if you're choosing not to not to deep fry your and put your chicken into the flour, then you can just throw the chicken straight in and cook it all straight off together. And let it all marinate completely in there, and it's really, really nice. You'll start to feel that it's all starting to thicken up a little bit, and the sauce really starts to get really nice and tasty. Right, so we're just going to let that simmer along just for a couple of minutes and we'll be back.
Okay, so I'm just going to pick this up and chuck it in the bin. I'm just going to wash my hand quick.
So it's a good idea to put it in the bin so you don't slip over, because you're going to move around with the pan shortly. So how are we doing in there?
Looks pretty good to me.
I'd say it does. You can see that it's actually got that sticky substance already, and that everything is pretty much covered. Right, well, we'll get our plate and then we'll plate up.
Okay, now I'm just going to turn it that off, and then we're just going to get my plate from over here and get a big spoonful of rice.
Okay, so you know when rice is done, because it's expanded, but if you hold it in between your finger and your thumb, you'll feel that it's soft. And if you take one piece of rice and just try it in between your teeth, you'll feel it's nice and soft and there's no hard bits at all, and then you'll know that it's done.
Okay, we're just going to take one big spoonful of this.
Or maybe 2.
Yeah.
Excellent. So that is looking very, very tasty. So are you going to give it a go and see how your favourite meal's doing? What's it taste like, Cody?
Very nice, but hot.
Brilliant. Right, we'll let you eat that and we'll come back in a moment when Tristian shows us how to cook the pudding. Bye.
Okay, so now we're going to make banana fritters in syrup. So
I'll just show everyone the recipe so they can follow along with us. There it is. Lovely. Okay, so tell us all about how to do it, Tristian.
okay, so first I've got flour. Pour that in.
So that's 175 grams of plain flour.
Now I've got corn flour.
125 grams. Sometimes it just gets stuck in the bottom, doesn't it?
Yeah, and 1 teaspoon of baking powder. There we are. Then I'm going to add a cap full of olive oil.
If you've got sesame seed oil, you can use that, but if not, any oil will do. It's just a capful just to help it moving around.
Then I've got some water.
Got 250 grams of just water.
Just going to mix this up.
So we're going to give that a nice good whisk so it becomes a really lovely smooth batter. So Cody's going to put the frying pan on for you. So we're starting to heat up the oil for you so that when we deep fry the banana fritters, the oil will be lovely and ready to go. So how's that going at the moment?
Alright, it's quite stiff and quite hard at the moment.
So you have to try your best to give it like a little whisk. It can be a bit hard. Sometimes you might need just that tiniest a little bit more water, but generally it should be all right. That's it. So we're just giving it a really good whisk, the best that we can. It is a little bit stiff. So as you notice, when you're whisking around, if you turn the bowl slightly while you're whisking, you'll see that it starts to come away from your edge. Now that's exactly as we want it. It is a bit stiff, but that's the mixture that we've got in there with the corn flour. You can do the same with custard powder. But you want this to stick to your bananas, so that's why it's important for it to be like that. So, next we've got bananas, haven't we, Tristian?
Yep.
So what are we doing to our lovely bananas?
We're going... This one's already popped up, so we're going to cut them in half and then cut them half again.
So they're in quarters.
Yep.
And then we're going to put them into the batter and then carefully stir them in with a spoon.
Get this. Okay, so I'm just going to do the exact same thing with what I did with the other one.
That's it, so we're into quarters.
Yep.
And then we're going to do what with them?
We're going to put them in the batter.
So you can see they're just slowly sinking in. That's it, and we're just going to make sure that they're completely covered, but you just want to be quite gentle because obviously bananas can be a little bit fragile, so you want to just make sure that they're fully covered, but not so much that you could damage them at all. So just sink them in so that they're absolutely covered.
Okay, so I've got these covered, so as you can see. So now I'm going to bring them over to here. And then get this spoon to lower them down into it.
That's it. And then straight into the oil. You can see that it's bubbling up, so you knew that the oil was hot enough. So, and then we can put another one in. So if you can see it's dripping a bit, you might want to take the other bowl over to your frying pan with you. There you go, and you can see it all bubbling up. So it won't take long for it all to be ready. So you can use the spoon to move the bananas around. And obviously it doesn't matter about the batter being on the spoon because that will just cook off in the frying pan. You just want the batter to get into it and to being lovely and golden brown and floating around. Now we're using gluten-free flour, so ours won't go as brown as what some people's normally will. But you'll see that it's getting nice, almost done now. So we'll give it just a couple of more minutes.
These are about done now, so 11. And then I'm just going to put them into this. Get that one. Put it in. And then this one.
That's it. And then we've just got to put in the last few, haven't we?
Yep.
So as you said, it's a little bit difficult because it's quite a gooey batter. So I'll let you keep going with that.
Yep.
Obviously, if the oil gets too hot, then just turn it down or remove the pan from the oil just for a moment. So I'll just move that over here for a moment, just so it cools it down a little bit just while you're getting ready to do that. So as you can see, that's really bubbled up and the banana's got stuck to the spoon.
There we are.
Fabulous. So we're just going to leave these to cook off for a moment and then we'll be back to do the rest.
Okay, so bananas had cooked, so now we're going to do this. So just going to turn this on. Then I'm going to add the marge.
So we're just using a nice dairy-free marge because that suits people in this house, but you can use butter. So you're just letting that melt down a little bit, aren't you?
Yeah, I am.
And it's on quite a hot heat, isn't it? High.
Yeah. Out of it.
So you're just moving it around the pan a little bit, letting it melt down.
Okay, so I'm just going to add the sugar.
So you're going to start mixing that in because it's going to start turning into a syrup really quickly, isn't it?
Yep.
So it's important to get that all mixed up and the marge broken down into tiny little pieces to get in there quickly, isn't it?
Yeah.
And keep mixing because we don't want that sugar to burn, do we?
No.
So this is going to be quite a rich syrup. So you have to keep stirring it until it turns into quite a good thickness, and you'll feel it as it turns. But what you must do is make sure that it doesn't burn in that time. So as it starts to get thicker, which we're getting closer to that time, you might need to turn it down, and you'll see that when it's getting thicker as well, because you'll start to see that there's a slight more golden brown come to it, and you'll see that it's all bubbling up, and what you want is it to bubble up so it burns off them sugars and turns into that lovely sugary syrup that we all love. So, and you also want to be careful that it doesn't splash up on you, so taking your time to stir it slowly rather than with much haste, otherwise it might flick up. And at this point you're going to add 2 of the bananas, aren't you, Tristian?
Yep.
So we've had them in the paper, just making sure all of the fat is off, because we don't want any of the oils left on them. So and we're just going to put that in, and we'll stir it around a little bit. And then when it's gone for sort of about 30 seconds on one side, then we'll turn it on to the other side for 30 seconds, so that we're really getting it soaked lovely in that syrup. And I'm going to turn them bananas over now. Now obviously there is an awful lot of syrup in there. All of that syrup is not for just them 2 bananas, that is for all of the bananas. So in total you've got 4 bananas to do this to. And all of that syrup will be used up with all of them. In fact, you can probably just add some of the other ones that are all in that pan so far, Tristian.
Okay.
So we'll just add them all in. That's it. So we've only got 2 bananas cooked off at the moment. We're going to do the other 2 in a minute. So sometimes they might break up a little bit, but that's okay as well. So we'll just move them about a little bit, and then we'll take some out ready to eat. So I think you've got a bowl over there for your first 2, haven't you, Tristian?
Yep. So I'm just going to take those out.
So you might want to take your bowl over to there, and then that saves you the worry of it dripping on you and burning. So we'll put them 2 over there, and then we can see that they're starting to look really nice. And Tristian's just going to finish off cooking the other ones. And Cody is going to add some lovely ice cream for us. Excellent. So we've got them 2 ready. So that is looking really, really delicious. So just let Tristian finish off doing those ones over there, and then I think we'll get to try some. I'm really looking forward to this one, Tristian.
Yeah.
So the proof is in the pudding, Tristian.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to this. So I've got a bit of the ice cream and a bit of this. Mmm. It's very hot, but what you can see is that the banana is warm and it's soft, and the outside is quite crispy. If you're not using gluten-free flour, you'll find that the outside will be more browner than what this particular one is. So that is really nice. It was lovely, Tristian. I really enjoyed that. So we've got one more little appetizer left, so we're going to finish this and we'll show you.
Okay, so I've broke up a chocolate bar and I'm just going to put it in the microwave for 30 seconds.
Okay, so we're going to make these now. So we've got pineapple, banana and strawberry, and then we've connected them all together with a toothpick. So now we're going to make these. So just going to chop a tiny bit of pineapple.
So your pineapple's your base, and then you're taking a chunk of banana, and then you're topping it with strawberry, yeah?
Yep.
Cool. And then what are we going to do with the chocolate?
So we're going to put this on toothpick, and then we're going to dip half of these in the chocolate.
Oh gosh, that really sounds like a great way to finish your food.
Okay, can you carry on doing this while I check on the chocolate?
Yes.
Okay, so it hasn't melted yet, so I'm going to put it back in.
We need to just give that a quick stir, Tristian, first, because we need to see, because sometimes they still carry on cooking, so, and they stay in their shape. So just a quick move around, so we can see that that has started to melt. So I think we'll just keep moving it around just for a minute more, just to see how far it goes. Because if you look, there we can see that it is melting. So I wouldn't give that another 30 seconds, maybe 15 seconds.
Okay.
What you don't want is to burn your chocolate. If you burn your chocolate, it will not taste nice, and it will ruin everything for you.
Okay, that's good. Okay. So this is actually done. There we are.
So you're just going to dip it in on its side, so that all of the fruits have got a bit of a flavour, and then just put them on the plate to let the chocolate harden. So if you try and lay them on their sides, like that a little bit, and then the chocolate will harden and hopefully not stick to the plate too much. Not that they're going to be there for long anyway, are they, lads?
No.
But if you were preparing a dinner party for someone, this would be nice to put in the fridge for a little while, or just have all the fruits ready in a little kebab set with the dip that people can join in. So it's looking nice and tasty. So we're not going to let them sit for very long now, because we're going in just a moment. So I'm going to give one a quick go and see what they taste like. That is a really lovely sweet dessert. It's nice whether the chocolate is warm or whether it's cold. You get to choose. Right, well, we're going to go now, and we hope you've enjoyed our end of the month treats, and we'll see you again next week. Bye.
Bye.